Some stories don't scare you right away. They trigger something deeper, a nervous synapse firing before you understand why. Welcome to Nervous Synapses. So grab a mug of your favorite cozy drink, a comfy blanket, and let's dive right into tonight's story. It was a chilly and wet night as Roy and Mandy made their way home. They had driven cross-country for a much-needed vacation 6 states away, and are now driving back to their normal lives. Their cross-country trip took them through city highways, but also some isolated roads. The road they were in now is one such road. It was a 2-lane highway in the backwoods, with forest encroaching on both sides of the road. There were no street lights, and the only illumination they had was from a half-moon and their car's light. They hadn't seen any other cars in miles, and certainly no houses. At first it was creepy driving down such a dark and quiet road. Mandy asked if there was an alternate route home, but Roy said this was a more direct route and would save them hours of driving. Mandy relented and made herself comfortable in the passenger seat, trying not to imagine scary things that might be hiding in the forests. The drive became much better and less sinister when Roy turned up the music and they both started singing along to their favorite songs. The road seemed to stretch on endlessly, and an hour later it felt as if they had not gone anywhere. The scenery remained the same, black asphalt in the middle and a sea of dark green on either side. Then out of nowhere, they spotted an old lady on the side of the road up ahead, with her arm out and thumb sticking up in the universal sign of a hitchhiker. That's weird. There's nothing around here, maybe even for miles. Where did she come from? Thought Roy. At first he considered not stopping, slightly creeped out by the situation. But then Mandy asked him to stop. Maybe the old lady needed help. She said, "We can't just leave an old woman at the side of the road at this time of night." Roy protested at first, saying it could be a trap. He didn't know why he thought or felt this, but his gut felt queasy for some reason. He chalked it up to exhaustion. They had been on the road for hours now. Eventually his kind-heartedness won, and he pulled over at the side of the road just slightly past the old woman. Mandy rolled her window down and watched the lady approach. She looked like a sweet grandma, with her wavy gray hair just above her shoulders and her slightly weathered face. "Hi, do you need help?" she asked. She noticed the woman had left a couple of luggages where she had been standing before. The old lady ambled slowly to Mandy's window and gave her a wide grin as she reached Mandy. "Oh, thank heavens you guys stopped. I wasn't sure if anyone would drive by at all. I've been waiting here for quite a while," replied the woman in a croaky, slightly accented voice. Roy, leaning slightly next to Mandy, peeked up at the old lady and asked, "Ma'am, are you out here all alone? Where are you coming from?" The lady then explained that her car had broken down a ways away, maybe a couple of miles. She told them that she had been on her way to visit her grandkids, and she was sure they were all worried sick about her. She didn't own a cell phone, so she couldn't call them. The old woman said she was going to just walk to the next town to see if she could hitch a ride from there or find a phone, but she became tired, what with her bags and old age. Roy then became slightly suspicious of the old lady's story. They hadn't passed any cars at all, unless she meant a couple of miles ahead. But that wouldn't make sense, because why would she have walked the opposite direction of where she needed to go? Then Mandy asked if she would like them to call her family so that maybe they can pick her up. However, the old woman shook her head and replied, "Oh, but I was hoping I could just get a ride to their house. It's just a couple of towns over, just straight down this stretch of highway. It could be faster that way, and we can just come back for my car tomorrow." Mandy turned to Roy, shrugged, and said, "Well, I guess that would be okay since we're going the same direction anyway. What do you think, hun?" Roy was about to protest, but seeing the determined look on Mandy's face, he agreed instead. Besides, what harm can an old grandma do? She looked sweet enough. Turning to the old lady, Roy said, "We can take you with us, ma'am. Just point us in the right direction. Let me go grab your suitcases." The old lady started thanking them profusely. Then she followed Roy to where her luggages were. Mandy sat in the car waiting for the two to get back. After a couple of minutes, she started wondering why they weren't back in the car yet. It shouldn't take that long to grab a couple of pieces of luggage. She looked in the car's side mirror to see what the hang-up was, and immediately caught sight of a faint glint of something metallic. It was difficult to see in the dark. Then Roy's hands went up to his throat. Out on the side of the road, Roy bent down to pick up the old lady's bags. It was then that he noticed the old lady had followed him. When he turned around to face her and start heading back to the car, all of a sudden there was a searing ball of flame in his neck. He immediately dropped the bags and clutched at his neck. He had no idea what happened, where the pain came from suddenly, and why he couldn't catch his breath. When he moved his hands away and looked down at them, he was so confused as to why they were wet and sticky. Then, without a sound, he slumped to the ground, life flowing out of him. Back in the car, Mandy started screaming. She scrambled to open the door when she realized the old lady had started to head towards her, knife still clutched in her right hand. Mandy instead began to scoot to the driver's side, but the lady changed directions and started walking towards that side too. For an old lady, she moved rather quickly. Mandy made a hasty decision and quickly pushed her door open. Without looking back, she started running towards the forest to try to lose this crazy woman. She knew she can easily outrun an old lady, but she also didn't want to leave Roy behind. He could still be alive, she thought. She needed to just buy some time and lose the old lady so she can circle back to Roy. In her haste in getting out of the car, Mandy had left her cell phone on her seat. She knew she had to get it back to call for help. She ran a little deeper into the dark forest and ducked behind a thicket of bushes. She couldn't see the old lady anywhere, and she didn't know if she had followed her into the forest. But she couldn't spend too much time hiding. She had to get help for Roy. She could barely see the lights from the car from where she was hiding. After what felt like a lifetime, Mandy decided to peek out of the bushes. She still didn't see the old woman anywhere. Hesitating just for a second, Mandy risked it and darted out of her hiding spot and started sprinting for the car. She couldn't really see anything around her as she was surrounded by gloomy trees, but she only had one goal in mind: to get to the safety of the car as soon as possible and call for help. As Mandy got to the side of the road, she hastily surveyed the surroundings of the car. Not seeing the crazy old lady anywhere, she jumped into the passenger seat, automatically locking the door and quickly reaching over to lock the driver's side door as well. Then she fumbled around for her phone and started to dial 911. However, her phone call kept getting dropped because of a weak signal. They were out in the middle of nowhere after all. Her battery was also dangerously low. Shit, this can't be happening right now. Come on, just connect already, Mandy said frustratingly. Mandy could feel panic quickly rising in her throat, threatening to force a scream out of her. She was dialing 911 for the 6th time when she happened to look at the side mirror, back to where Roy was lying and moving at the side of the road. His body looked weird from where she was sitting, but it could just be the darkness playing tricks on her eyes. Finally, she heard her phone connect, and a calm, smooth voice answered. 911, what's your emergency? As Mandy opened her mouth to beg for help, she was stunned to silence when she heard the car door unlock. Then she looked out the windshield and could see the old woman standing in front of the car, her clothing splattered and what could be nothing else but blood. She was just standing there with an eerie smile on her face, holding something in her hands. Mandy's ears started ringing as she began hyperventilating. She felt like she would pass out at any second. In the background, she could faintly hear the 911 operator trying to get her attention. Hello, are you still there? Can you tell me what's going on? Hello? But Mandy was frozen in fear. As she kept staring at the old woman, she could see the lady's left arm slowly rising. As if in slow motion, the object the old woman was holding in her left hand revealed itself to her. When Mandy recognized it, her head felt like it had exploded, and she began screaming hysterically. Roy's severed head dripped dark red blood down the old woman's arm. 2 seconds later, Mandy regained some sense and quickly jammed her finger onto the door lock button. Then she started to scramble around looking for the car key. She thought Roy had left it in the ignition, but she couldn't find it anywhere. Where the hell are the keys? Damn it! She could hear the panic in her voice as tears started streaming down her face, clouding her vision. Roy had insisted they take his car for this trip, and she hadn't thought to bring her spare key with her. At a loss, Mandy started easing herself towards the back of the car, as if keeping more distance between her and the old woman, who was still standing at the front of the car holding Roy's head in her raised left hand, would somehow keep her safe. Then Mandy spotted her phone in the middle console. She could tell the connection to 911 had been disconnected. Were they on the line long enough to ping her location? Mandy desperately prayed so. As she looked up and out towards the old woman again, she noticed the old woman had started to slowly walk towards the driver's side. "What are you doing?" Mandy said under her breath. Then loudly, she yelled at the crazy old lady, "What the hell do you want? Leave me alone. We just wanted to help you out. Why are you doing this?" As the old lady got to the driver's side door, Mandy heard the lock click at the same time that the woman raised her right hand, jangling the car keys. Mandy's eyes widened, and she screamed and jumped into the driver's side. She grabbed the side handle and with all her strength held the door closed as she screamed for the old woman to leave her alone. Then she heard wet thuds hitting the window. Looking up, to Mandy's horror, she realized the old lady was hitting the window with Roy's decapitated head. Blood and pieces of flesh stuck to the window and flew around with each impact. Mandy was a blubbering mess as she held onto the door for dear life, but at the same time watching her beloved husband's face disintegrate into pulp. After what seemed like forever, the old lady stopped and dropped Roy's head onto the asphalt. Then she raised the car remote again and pressed the unlock button twice, unlocking all the car doors. Mandy was stunned, and all the blood drained from her face. She knew she couldn't keep all the doors closed at once. Also, seeing what had been done to Roy had drained all the remaining fight left in her. She let go of the driver's door, and as a last act of defiance, pressed the call button on the cell phone that was still on the middle console. She didn't know if it would still connect to 911, but it didn't matter anymore. As she sat back in the seat, she felt the passenger door open, and the old lady sat next to her. Mandy closed her eyes and mumbled, "I love you, Roy. I'll be seeing you soon." Thank you for listening to this gruesome story till the end. Did you guys enjoy it? Do you see yourself taking a cross-country driving trip in the near future? If you like this story and want to hear more, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It all really helps. Thank you, and see you again next time.